That had happened, it was set up somewhat similar to where you have a pulley on one end and then you have a tugger down here on the other end. The gentleman was actually standing up. In my situation though, I'm actually going to get myself closer to the tugger because he ended up down at the tugger when all this was said and done. They were using a material called mule tape in order to be able to do that. We're using jet line to kind of show what that, similarities of what the jet line would be. That mule tape is not that much thicker than what this jet line is to begin with anyway. So we have it set up over the pulley, the way that our pull is going to be set. And the idea behind our using the tugger would be you're going to do some wraps, correct? So if you've been running a tugger long enough, the idea behind the wraps are the more grabs you have with your rope, the better you have the tension for the rope itself, right? But you don't want too many wraps that are around that rope. You kind of want to just have just enough. You know, you want to be able to feel that rope kind of still be able to slide in between so it doesn't bind up. The problem with this type of material is the smaller that it is you have the opportunity for this to wind up around itself as it goes, just as such. And when you do, it binds up. So I can't even pull on it anymore. It gets wound up around itself. So for his situation, once that actually got wound up around itself, and that thing is still pulling the way that it was, it kept pulling him back in. And the other thing that he did was wrap the mule tape around his hand. And the gloves that he was using had a sticky like residue on the gloves themselves as well too. So he was also not able to, we don't understand how or why, he was not able to get to his kill switch in time to be able to shut that on and off. So, and there was only one single operator at the tugger. There was no one else there with him to be able to do anything any different, because at that point in time you have a power cord and you've got a plug. If you can't get to your kill switch, you should still be able to get this machine unplugged. So, you also have to be careful when it comes to the idea of the tugger itself. Once you do shut this thing down, this does still have a brief moment of that being able to move. So you always want to make sure when you're using the proper material, which we will today, that you're standing far enough back. You know, there should be no reason that you get close enough to this thing with your arm wrapped around that, you know, and after this goes to bind up with this material that they were using, there should be no reason that you end up falling into this tugger. You know, what you guys are going to end up seeing in the video is, after everything was said and done, his arm ends up down here, and he is in this position, completely wrapped around the tugger, with the mule tape wrapped around his hand. So it's just something that should not happen. Today we're going to go ahead and show it and set up the right way, using the rope and the material that should be used. Okay. So currently you guys are working on getting the wiring up out of your way so it's not in the way of the pole itself. So.
Yes, sir. So it's not when the pulley is not rubbing on the rope or on the wheel itself.
Okay.
I'll come back here.
Some of the other things that we would be looking for, I don't know if you guys have taken this apart, but you have taken the time to make sure that you've gone through, and this tugger is mounted to this piece of rigid, right? And it's mounted with this chain and lock scenario. So same thing with the extension piece on the tugger, with the pulley on the other end, is mounted to the same piece of rigid with the same setup, chain locking mechanism. So you guys are always making sure from pole to pole, you know, don't just assume that it's vibration, you know, things move around. Make sure you always give those things a good extra turn, although it just to make sure nothing has come loose. So
yes, sir.
okay. Very good.
We go twice around the big one, come over the top, once around the smaller one. And that should pull right there. Just gotta wait for them to make that happen. It's not rubbing on anything.
How do you look when it comes to the angle of your rope coming up to the pulley?
It's not coming out straight on top of the pipe, it's coming out right here. So if I could get it out forward more, I would. But I don't know how I would do it in this situation. You see what I mean?
So we can move it, but we need to put it on top. If you want to do it this way, we need to put it on top the.
You're also dealing with some situations where your wire is going to be in the way.
Yeah.
So, okay. Right now, what you actually have is the arm of the pulley is rested all the way up against the concrete. You do have, this is PVC. So what we're gonna be watching for, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say with the pulls that I have made over the years, that I feel like what you want is that rope to be more in the center of the pipe. So we're just gonna have to pay good attention to, if anything we see about that pull either starts cutting into that pipe or becomes uncomfortable, we want to pay attention to that. Because if we need to re-rig this, and unfortunately that's gonna take a little bit of work, because I don't know what you're going to end up needing to be able to get some of those wires out of your way. We don't want this wheel cutting into those wires.
Right.
So,
Wait, you put it up here.
let's set it up here and see what it looks like. Okay.
What the problem is, this one is touch will do.
No, I see. Again, we're just communicating about this, so we're actually showing kind of sort of what we're up against. So we're gonna go ahead and make the pull the way that you guys had it set up. We're gonna drop it down and we're gonna pay attention to the.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna let you guys jump back in. I'm not wearing my gloves and I don't wanna.
Just have to stand back as much as possible. Because usually I feel like
Yeah, so what we're looking for, you already have it wrapped around right now. And in situations for me, and you're always gonna wanna stay over to me as far to the drum as possible. So first thing we always work on is to make sure that the team up that way has gotten the head into the pipe and that you get all of the slack to where you're nice and taut. I don't wanna pull on it too much right now because they're on the other end. When that team says they're ready to go, you know, you guys should be able to go ahead and get this thing fully tight and get your rope set up exactly where you want it. I would not start off with any more than probably just a couple of reps. You don't ever want to see this thing completely full up with a rope all the way across. That should not happen. We'll monitor that to start this pull off and we'll see what it looks like, but you kind of want to leave yourself enough room on this. I'm not telling you can't go ahead and wrap this another time, you know, if we end up needing to, but at some point in time that rope should grab to that wheel and it should do its job, you know. So yep, all the way over. Last thing you'd ever want to do is to start that rope over here. Of course, you're giving yourself at that point in time nowhere to be able to wrap your rope, right? Okay. So we're also going to be looking to make sure, same thing, two people are here. Your power source is this you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest right now.
One of the other things that you don't want to do when it comes to your power source, I've seen this happen before in the past. Last thing you want to do is one of these situations here where you wrap it around and you plug it in. You have no way of being able to get that, you know, back out of there. So you, in this situation right now, you have two forms of being able to shut this thing down. You've got your on-off, but you also have your power source. So let's not pretend to think that on-off switch, for whatever reasons, if it were to fail,
That's the first one.
your power source, the second person in the room, is always looking to make sure that we can get that thing unplugged as quickly as possible. And where is your power source coming from?
Temporary power right in front of us right there.
Okay. That is also a backup plan if we needed. I feel comfortable enough right now when it comes to having both of you in the room between your kill switch and your cord, being able to get us unplugged. So, okay.
Yeah, what I was telling you up here, once you're coming through a 90 or just going through a rough patch, it shouldn't do it today, but sometimes when we're pulling 500s, it's so heavy and so much pressure that this actually starts coming up a little bit. Do you never want somebody standing right here and pulling straight up?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So with you bringing that up, if you're telling me that tugger has come up, guys, before we start making this pull, we need to talk about how we want to go ahead and get this tugger secure.
How would we do that?
Well, let's go ahead and kind of start communicating about that a little bit. So I'm back to the ideas of possibly some unistrut. So, right? Do you guys have any drop-in anchors?
We should. We have semis that can go straight to the ground with all thread.
Okay. If you see where I'm going with this, then how about the idea of some strut that is coming across, right? Some drop-in anchors and probably some all thread with some washers. We'll go ahead and get that nutted bolt tightened down. All right, let's not worry about that thing being able to come up. Let's go ahead and take the extra time to get that secured down the right way. Thank you for pointing that out. So, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead.
Drop in, bring up all thread and piece of strut right here.
Wouldn't that secure?
That's
so yeah, let's go ahead and.
Our rope is on our tugger. It's not rubbing on anything, any of our wires or damaging the pipe. The wheel is not touching any of our wires. Our tugger is sturdy. We have it strapped down to the floor so the back side doesn't come up. I'm gonna talk to my team and make sure they're ready. Are you guys ready for me to pull?
Yeah, we've also, we identified earlier, we made sure all the chains were locked down, ready to go. So gentlemen, all right, let's be safe. I know you're on this end now. Louis is also in the room, so I'm gonna make sure I stand back a little bit. We have plenty of people in the room to be able to shut this thing down and hit a kill switch if we need to. By all means, guys.
So they don't keep trying to push and feed that wire while we're not pulling it.
I'm sure if you just by hand, because this one is not, this is supposed to be more inside, but I'm putting it right now. So I think we're good. Ready?
Yes,
all right, so we stopped for a minute just to make sure everything in the front seemed like it was okay. Good call. So
you're gonna start pulling.
All right, we're there.
Go.
So that's good communication with the team to know when to start and to stop. So you seem like you caught on to that pretty quickly.
All right.
We're ready when you are.
Thank you. Is that ready when we are?
We're pulling.
Head is coming out, so.
All right, guys, we got the head coming out, so give me a couple of seconds.
We're gonna bring it up to here. And then
Where's, yeah, I know where what are you hitting your breakers on the top here?
It's on all the way at the top. So we're
Okay.
gonna bring the head all the way here.
Okay.
Put a choke knot on it and pull it out a little bit more so we can reach.
Sounds good. Yeah, only take it as far as the tugger will let you take it, so.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me know.
All right, Louis, let them know I'm about to pull again.
You're gonna start pulling.
Y'all ready when you are, huh?
Go.
Nice job, y'all.
Yeah, sure. Now we got the head, we're gonna clean it out, we're gonna change the room, we're gonna start putting again.
All right, guys, that was good communication. I think the 3 people being in the room, I was the one back here grabbing the rope. Maybe the idea, I wouldn't want to see you holding the walkie-talkie and trying to, you might want to think about one more. You know, it never hurts, right? So it was definitely good for you not to have that rope being wrapped up around. I was trying not to pull it too much to where I took too much slack from you, but also not let it get, you know, wrapped around your feet or something just in case you needed to remove yourself, you know? Benji, nice job up in the front, you know, when it comes to watching over the head. And again, good communication. You started, stopped when you needed to, so nice job. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you.